they'll look at themselves and they'll be like, wow, I'm 90 kilograms at 30% body fat. I'm never going to get to where I want to be.
Doing the hard stuff very early on, I thought, this isn't how, you're going to get nowhere doing this, by avoiding what you don't want to do. And I think
the fact that you mentioned that 1% rule, because to me, people think 1% is such a minute number.
And a lot of people think you're a born salesman. That's not the case at all. And I quickly learned that it's a people game industry.
I've spent thousands of pounds.
You don't know what you want to do at 18, 19, 20. And then when you get to 30, 35, you're a completely different person at that stage. A lot of people are scared.
So self-development is so important that if you do not invest in yourself, what else are you going to invest in?
It's actually a really good story, how I got into it. It was 2020 lockdown, I think it was. And Ty come to live with me because everyone was housebound. I had a gym at home. He was living in an apartment in London, so it just made sense for him to come live with me.
I really genuinely want to help people. I want to help people within the business that we have, which is precision performance coaching. My passion is to help people live longer, help people have a better quality of life, and help people overcome the obstacles that they believe they couldn't overcome.
Quit my plumbing company and shut it down. And then my second, my first full year, which was my second year, netted just under $500,000. So
I don't believe that.
No, I promise. I'd always
to take into consideration what you've just said there, because I know I've been guilty of that. When I first started with my business, precision performance coaching, we were flying. We were signing clients up left, right, and centre.
And a lot of people get caught up in the self-development. They'll go to all these online courses, these courses at hotels where people are speaking. They'll have all the answers. For me, when you go out and get the scars, when you make the phone calls, trying to implement what you've learned, you mess up on the phone, you feel like an idiot, your head's gone.
Welcome to the Winning Mindset Podcast. My name is Wale Adesmoya, your host. I am here with Reis Ash. Guys, the Winning Mindset Podcast is about introducing everyday people to the audience to let you guys know how they have become successful in the field of their profession. Whatever they're doing. Me, myself, and I've traveled the world. I've lived with tribes all over the world in my TV show, Last Man Standing. I'm a 5 times muscle model world champion. I've traveled the world training with some of the best athletes on the planet. I think I know a thing about winning. Reis, introduce yourself to the audience.
Yes, so I'm the director of Reis Ash International Real Estate, a luxury real estate company, and I've not been in the, fairly young in the field, about 3-4 years, but I made some serious growth early on. Picked up my first Ferrari last year. The company looking after 100 agents, and we've moved to Dubai now. So we're doing astronomical numbers across the UK and Dubai, and it's a really exciting journey I've been on. It seems to have been fast forward, and I just want keen to get talking about the tricks I've learned along the way, basically.
I mean, it's interesting because I actually know you personally. We spent a lot of time together training in the gym.
Too much.
We spent we were in the gym at 6 a.m. this morning for 2 hours. We smashed out a little bit of shoulders and arms, and then we did a bit of cardio. But I know you well enough. But what's pursued you to kind of carry on pursuing the lifestyle that you want to achieve in your sort of field of obviously real estate? What you guys are involved in? What's the fire inside you? What's your drive that keeps you going?
Yeah, because it's quite strange, and a lot of people think you're a born salesman or woman, and I don't think that's the case. I think that the old gift of the gab type, cheesy snake oil salesman comes to mind with people in sales, but that's not the case at all. And I quickly learned that it's a people game industry, and I've always been very sociable and liked by many people. I love football, golf. I'm quite generic with what I like and stuff. I think when I got into real estate, I really wanted to be the best at that. I didn't want to go and dip my toe in the water. Coming from a background of having my own business before, I played football at a very high level till the age of 21, 22. played for Pakistan international team. We'll go into that another time, but that was quite a funny one. I scored on my debut. So everything I've done, I've wanted to be the best at. And when I decided to get into real estate, and obviously following my brother, who's one of the best in the country, it was like pressure was on for me I need to fucking do good. Do you know what I mean?
So obviously you're the director of Tyrone Ash International in the UK. Tyrone, he's the CEO of the company.
Yeah, he founded it, and his background is real estate since he's 19, whereas I got into it. It's actually a really good story how I got into it. It was 2020 lockdown, I think it was, and Ty come to live with me because everyone was housebound. I had a gym at home. He was living in an apartment in London, so it just made sense for him to come live with me. And I just bought a Mercedes CLA, which is a lovely car. I absolutely loved it. And I was telling him, and he just bought a Lamborghini Huracan Performante. And I was thinking,
no comparison.
And
there,
I was like, and I was doing boilers as a gas engineer at the time. And I was thinking, fuck me, I got to do a lot of boilers the numbers weren't numbering. Do you know what I mean? I was like, he's like, why don't you get into it? I think you do really well. I was like, fuck it, why not? So I incorporated it alongside my plumbing until I got enough deals to come through the pipeline. To eventually, quit my plumbing company and shut it down. And then my second, my first full year, which was my second year, netted just under $500,000. So It was like an astronomical jump from numbers where I was always doing okay as a plumber. I had my own firm. But yeah, it was Ty who got me in. I lived with him in Chelsea, learned very quickly do's and don'ts. He's quite a forceful guy. I don't know if he's very direct.
Yeah, no, he's very direct. I mean, Tyrone was on the podcast with me. I interviewed Tyrone in Dubai, so I know Tyrone very well in the way he is as a character. But, what I want to talk about more is your transition from being a plumber and then all of a sudden being, an estate agent, selling properties. And we're not talking about selling, £200,000 properties. We're talking about selling like, £1 million, £2 million, £3 million, £4 million properties. So, because what I want to really touch on that perspective is if someone is watching this podcast or listening to this podcast and they want to transition from their day job to something they're very passionate about,
correct,
or want to earn more money for their family. So just talk about that transition and how you were able to put it in place.
Yeah, I think a lot of, going back to it, Ty taught me a lot of, kind of things to do, but also took the onus upon myself to do my own research. I went on YouTube, I watched videos, I bought online courses from Jordan Belfort, other people to teach you sales techniques, because yes, I was good with people, but didn't really understand, how to sales really. I know everything is sales, everyone will say, but coming from a football and a plumbing background where you're not really in a social environment, I really took the onus upon myself to expedite the process by going heavy on online courses and implementing what I learned. And anyone looking, you don't know what you want to do at 18, 19, 20, and then when you get to 30, 35, you're a completely different person at that stage. And a lot of people are scared because they're pot committed 10 or 15 years to an industry or career. They think they're going to stick it out, and before you know it, you're 50, 60 years old and your head's going to be full of regrets. And that's what I didn't want to do. And I think for me, one of the key factors for sticking at it was I was very gradual with my changes. I wasn't here going, on day one, I'm going to make 100 calls, 100 door knocks and close 10 deals because it's unrealistic. I perform a lot better with realistic goals and targets to track daily. So for me, a simple rule was the 10% rule on my prospecting. I started off with, let's say 5 or 7 calls a day. The next day would be 10% more every day. And that helped me stick at it. It might have only been 1 call extra a day, but the 1% growth was there from implementing it. And I went really big on self-development, and I'm a massive advocate of it because it really did help me get to where I want to got to. Because even my old man was like, Reis isn't good at sales. Ty was born with it. You could, at a young age, who's very good at, he could be a salesman. He's very good with, gift of the gab type thing, like I said before. Yeah. Whereas me, I was always quite subdued, quieter. Do you know what I mean? So I really wanted to prove to everyone that I can do this. And the only way I was going to do that was looking at what the best people do, the most successful people do in the industry, or link to that industry and replicate it. And that's kind of what I tried to do, really.
I mean, that's kind of an amazing backstory itself, because we're not all natural good at sales. And one of the things I really like want to touch on that you mentioned there is that you went big on self-development. Because you went big on self-development, do you feel that's propelled you to succeed a lot quicker than your peers if you didn't go big on self-development? Like obviously you mentioned Jordan Belfort's, that you bought some courses, online courses, and obviously you had a mentor in your brother. You know, you had someone who was already, you know, walking the walk and talking the talk of the things that you wanted to do. He was your mentor while she was transitioning from being a plumber to actually coming in and selling properties. So in regards to self-development, how important is it to invest in yourself?
Yeah, self-development is key, and I think one thing people need to detract themselves from is that you can read all the books and do all the courses, but there has to be an element of going out and doing it as well. And a lot of people get caught up in the self-development. They'll go to all these online courses, these courses at hotels where people are speaking. They'll have all the answers, but they've not actually gone and got the scars. Pardon me. And I think for me, when you go out and get the scars, when you make the phone calls trying to implement what you've learned, you mess up on the phone, you feel like an idiot, your head's gone. You have to go through that, and a lot of people don't want to go through that, and they'll always look for shortcuts along the way. And having like a Ty as a mentor whilst doing my own self-development courses and implementing them daily, it did really expedite the whole process, because I come into an industry where people had been 10-20 years and overtaken them within 2-3 months of me just kind of getting out there and doing it. And I think, yeah, self-development has got to be a part of whatever industry you're in. I mean, talking to yourself as well, you're always kind of looking for new avenues to improve yourself and new coaches to speak to, new minds to get ideas off. You're constantly looking for that self-development, and that's kind of key as to why you're still performing at an extremely highly level. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I love the fact that you mentioned that 1% rule, because to me, people think 1% is such a minute number, but I always say if you can improve as an individual, not just in business as a whole, but your whole life by 1% per annum, think how much you propel forward for the rest of your life if you just improve by just that 1%. So, you know, I spent thousands of pounds on coaching. You know, I have a business coach, you know, I have a mindset coach, I have a fitness coach, even though I'm a coach myself. You know, I still believe I need that second eye, that second opinion to give me guidance in my nutrition and training, because I believe the value in it. So self-development is so important, that if you do not invest in yourself, what else are you going to invest in? Are you going to just invest in flashy clothes, flashy cars? It's important that you invest in developing yourself to improve as an individual.
It's quite hard when people invest in themselves, because they're going, what am I investing in? Where am I going? Like,
exactly.
So why would someone invest £2,000 for a course if they don't even like what where they're working, or how are they going to use that to their advantage in a year's time? And a lot of it comes with, you know, preparation of where am I going. And I think once you know the desired outcome, you can kind of reverse engineer it from there. I mean, you know, I never set out a goal to be like, I'm going to earn $500,000 that year. My goal was to focus on what I spoke about earlier, to do 1% better every day. And I get better results and I focus on a day at a time. Some people will go, I've got to do X amount by the end of the month, X amount of Q3, X amount by the end of the year. And I don't put a time on my goals, because there's a lot of variables I don't have control over. For example, the market in the UK, I have no control over when mortgage rates go up 5 times compared to when they were 1% 2 years. So how can I attach a financial goal to myself when I don't have any control over a huge factor that has a huge bearing on the outcome? So when people, in my opinion, set goals that way, they're setting themselves up for failure, because, you know, if it goes wrong for a day, a week, a month, you're going to keep comparing to where you should be and seeing that you're not there.
I think I want to love that, and I want to go back a step as well in regards to, you talk about people going on to all these sort of mentors, going on all these, like, you know, like masterminds, I call them.
That's it,
in hotels, but yet not doing anything with the skills that they've learned. I call it motion and implementation. The difference between motion and implementation is, one, it's like you want to get in the best shape of your life. You can read all of the books, the nutritional books, you can read all the training books, you can watch all the YouTube videos, you can watch all the Instagram videos, TikTok videos. But the fact is, if you're not actually implementing that healthy lifestyle and you're not getting to that gym and doing your workout, it's pointless. You're not going to get in that shape. So that's the simplicity of being in motion, going on all these courses, and implementation. And one of the things that I've picked up from the conversation we're having now is you were very good at implementing the skills that you were learning very fast, and you made the mistakes very fast, which leads me on to my next question that I wanted to ask you. What are the challenges that you faced along the way? What are the obstacles that you've overcome to become successful?
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge for me was, I think I mentioned before, I'm very quiet. I say quiet. If you know me, I'm quite funny and joking around, but you know, if it was on a night out, I'd never be going up to a group of girls to go and crack on. I'd always kind of
believe that.
No, I promise.
I don't believe that.
I promise I'd send someone else over to do the legwork, and then I'd crack a joke when they come over. And what I mean, I've always been that. I would never go over first, that type of guy. And when you're in sales, you have to go and put yourself out there. You have to go and get a door slammed in your face. You have to go and get used to hearing no.
Yeah.
And that was the hardest thing for me. I would prepare to go out and do some prospecting, and I would always really delay the process. I've got to go get coffee. Let me get some food. I'd always try and delay the hard stuff very early on. I thought, this isn't how, you're going to get nowhere doing this, by avoiding what you don't want to do. And I think the success is behind the things you don't want to do.
Oh yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I soon realised that. So I never used to beat myself up, but I'd kind of quickly go, that's wrong. Do you know what I mean? Don't do that. And that's kind of one of the things that was really had to overcome, especially in sales, overcoming prospecting, things I didn't like to do. Because everyone can go and do a house tour in a nice suit going, here's the kitchen, it's £100,000. That's not real estate. Like real estate is knocking on the door over and over again, ringing the phone, doing these things where you're not getting rewarded for, but you've still got to do it every day. It's kind of like, the gym's a great example. You go for one gym session. I know we all feel that you want to be muscly straight after, but you're exactly the same.
Yeah, exactly.
You haven't changed after one gym session.
Changed, does it?
Well, why do you keep going back after 3 months? Because you know it's going to come. Whereas in sales or business, people would try something. Oh, Instagram doesn't work doing videos, didn't get any leads off of that. Well, how long did you do it? I did it for a week. Do you know what I mean? You have to keep implementing things knowing the outcome's going to come. And that's quite difficult in property, to keep doing things and still seeing no results, because it doesn't just gradually go up. It's very staggered.
Yeah, it's not linear, is it?
Exactly, yeah.
So, going back to what you said in regards to doing the things that you do not want to do daily, like one of my favorite quotes is, the treasure that you want is hidden in the cave that you do not want to enter. So all of the treasures that we want in life, and all of the things that we want, and all of the success that we want, is hidden behind the things that we do not want to do. So I think it's important that anyone listening to this podcast, if you can take one thing away, is to kind of have those really, really daily habits of the things that you do not want to do, and get them done. Make sure they're getting done on a day-to-day basis. I wake up at 5:30 5 a.m. to go to the gym. I don't want to do that. I'd rather stay in bed.
Yeah.
I'm in the gym at 6
Especially
a.m.
the weather is shit.
Exactly. When the weather's shit, sit in bed and and then get a coffee and go back to bed. But I get up because it's discipline. And I think one of the things that I've learned as well is the disciplines that I've learned from implementations of my training and my nutrition has transferred over to other aspects of my life. So I wanted to ask you, what are your 3 to 4 daily habits that's helped you in your field to become successful?
So if you're in real estate, and I'll talk about real estate because that's what I'm an expert in my industry, what I love is daily planning, because you go through stages when you progress, and a lot of people get confused with motion and progress. So what I mean by that is, if you're really busy, you think it's good, and the term being a busy fool happens quite quickly in real estate, because you've got a lot of things to juggle, and you'll think you're having a productive day, but it's not actually progressing. So for me, really setting out my diary is to say, this time I'm doing this. When are people more likely to be home when I'm door knocking? When are they going to be more receptive to a phone call and less receptive to a phone call? When should I do my viewings should I do my viewing day on this day or this day? So a lot of trial and error, and sticking to what works as well. So not getting distracted with unproductive daily tasks. And I think when you're very frantic with no structure in your diary, it's very easy to fall off track. And I found that out quite early on, because I think I got my first sale within about 6 to 7 weeks. I had lots of listings, lots of open houses, and then what happens is you go through stages where you're very busy with lots of stock, and lots of stuff to do. And then when you kind of focus on that, if you're not kind of pre-thinking, a month or 2 months ahead, your stock goes, house comes off the market, another house sells, you've got no listings again, and you're starting from scratch. And it's kind of like you have to be thinking very far ahead. And I think with structure in your daily diary, it gives you time to allocate prospecting, which in real estate, if you're not on the phones, door knocking, or whatever it is for 2, 3, 4 hours a day, you're not doing your business right.
So you're saying structure is important. What other habits that has helped you other than structure in regards to maintaining that successful outcome in your profession?
Yeah, so that aside, I think for me it's a case of look at the gym, for example, to kind of attach myself to experts in the industry, the same as you said about coaching. And now you're my fitness coach. I have my brother who's around me, who is a great mentor in that industry. Detaching myself from people that weren't going to help. And I know it sounds quite cheesy, we probably hear it a lot, cut off your friends and all this stuff. And I said it did get to that stage where I'd probably say the only person I had around me was like my mum, dad and my brother, and it was just like, I'm just doing work. Do you know what I mean? Right early on in the very beginning. And that really helped me because I wasn't getting distracted with nights out all the time and going on pointless holidays that I'd done at a younger age. So cutting off people that aren't going to help you. And if it's family members, you have to distance yourself from your mum and your dad if they're constantly being negative about what your goals are. And I think when you isolate yourselves and you give yourself no other result apart from winning, that's when you get answers. I said if you leave yourself in a nice environment around nice people, constantly mollycoddling you, it's not really going to help you in the long run. So I think I was really strict on who I surrounded myself with in the beginning, because going from a plumber to a self-employed real estate agent, it's this big jump.
It's a massive jump. And one of the things I always say is, one of my favorite quotes is I say, eagles don't fly with pigeons. If you want to soar like an eagle, you don't surround yourself with pigeons. So you've got to surround yourself with people that have very similar mindset to you and on the same sort of mission as you are. They say that you're a reflection of the 5 people you surround yourself with. So, that's one thing I always make sure that I surround myself with people who are doing better than me. Because if I walk into a room, and I'm the expert in that room, then I'm in the wrong room. So
your ego might get a little tickle.
That's it. For me, I don't want to be the expert in that room. I don't want to be the most person who earns the most within their business within that room, because if I am, then I'm in the wrong room. I want to come into a room where I inspire to be like someone. I inspire to achieve that greatness that they are doing. So it's interesting about cutting off your friends. So what was that like? Because I think a lot of people feel like that if they have like a relationship with someone, like a childhood friend, that they've got to stay with that person for the rest of their lives because of the fact that they grew up together and the attachment that they have to that friendship. So talk to me about that, because I think that's quite important.
Yeah, it's a point I've really thought about in great detail. I look at, and I'm not saying no one can have childhood friends, because they can. I'm sure it's fantastic to have that connection, that bond. But I was always having like a high turnover of friends. And I was like, I started to think, am I the problem here? Do you know what I mean? I couldn't really work it out. And I'm now looking back on I don't really care if I've got who are around me, as long as I've got the right people around me. I don't really care. I was like, I think it was me constantly looking for better. And I mean that in a way where I wasn't just content on doing the same things. Because I grew up in a small town where soon by the age of 18, everyone just wanted to go to the pub and drink. And it's my idea of hell. Like at that age, I couldn't think of anything worse. So I was like, right, well, I don't fit into where I've grew up now, so let me start going to the city more and whatever it might be. But I've always been seeking more. And I think having a high turnover of friends, looking back, I think was just me kind of going, I'm not satisfied. They're not where I want to be. I'm going to go and do what I want to do, and I'm going to attract probably people in that area. Yeah. And I think when you can detach yourself from caring about what people think, I was listening to an audiobook on the way here today, and if the people aren't going to be at your funeral, then why do you care about what they're saying about you when you're alive? Do you know what I mean? And I think it's such a good point. A lot of people are scared about posting that video, because when I did it, everyone's like, oh look, they're all doing that, it's all a load of shit, taking the piss out of doing videos about real estate and all this sort of stuff. And then the only way, the best way to answer them is to ram success down their throats by just doing what you're destined out to be. And I think on the other hand, if you do keep them around you, that negativity, or why are you doing that, mate? Oh, you haven't been paid in 3 months. Why are you still there? Why don't you go get a normal job? If you've got people like that they love you, but their intentions are right, but they don't have the knowledge to help you, then it's your own fault for having them around you, because it's not going to help you in the long run.
Yeah, no, it's interesting what you're saying in regards to like people saying to you, why are you doing something? So making videos, because, you know, social media is really big now. You know, everybody's like, you know, making videos from, you know, experts within the field making videos. So how did you find it? You know, how did you get rid of that sort of worry of what people may say about you? Because it's interesting, because like when you're making the content and you're making videos, you're always thinking, how do I come across? Have I said the right thing? Have I used the right language? Have I used the right pronunciation? You know, have I said this right? Am I correct in what I'm saying? So how did you, like, almost like that, I say imposter syndrome. It
is, yeah.
How do you get over that imposter syndrome?
I think when you're starting out, same as anyone. So let's say you've watched, The Wolf of Wall Street, you know, Jordan Belfort is a great example. I think that's kind of how I stumbled on his course, because I just probably watched Wolf of Wall Street. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I knew he was a great salesman. So then, obviously, people you inspire you, you're going to try and come across like them in your first video. So I don't know who I come across like, but my first videos were fucking shit. It was awful. It took me about 30 takes trying to script everything and talk in words I don't ever talk like. And I'm a bit like quite laddie with how I talk. I'm never like rude or don't carry myself well, but I'm quite like, you know, laid back laddie. I get on with most people, whereas someone that might be more articulate speaks a certain way. And I think if you're not genuine to who you are, the video comes out even worse. And I feel that having that genuine feel in the video whilst delivering the right message, it doesn't have to be pitch perfect and the lighting doesn't have to be amazing. It's just got to be genuine, and there's got to be a message in there. So you're not going to become a millionaire off one video, and you're not going to lose £1 million off one video. And I think people get caught up in perfection, which is never going to be there. And I think, again, it goes back to my last point: go out and film 30 videos and post them, and then you'll get over it very quickly. If you're there trying to get this perfect video and then you post it and it's like, okay, I've had 100 views in an hour, like, you're refreshing, you're going to fucking set yourself up for failure again, aren't you?
No, I mean, I'll be honest with you, like, that's what I was like, believe it or not, you know, when I even within the fitness industry, something that I'm an expert at. When I first started filming more content, you know, I wanted everything to be perfect. I went out and spent thousands and thousands of pounds on buying a Sony A7 camera. I bought the best mic that you can get. I got the best tripod. I got the best lens, and I didn't need all of that. All I needed was my Apple phone. All I needed was my iPhone. Literally my iPhone on a tripod with a decent mic, and then giving good value to my audience. And that's what's really helped me, because I really genuinely want to help people. I want to help people within the business that we have, which is precision performance coaching. You know, my passion is to help people live longer, help people have a better quality of life, and help people overcome the obstacles that they believe they couldn't overcome. That's maybe having the physique that they thought they would never be able to achieve. And that's be able to have the relationship they think they may not be able to achieve. That's having the lifestyle they think they may not be able to achieve. And that's playing with their kids and living longer. So we're all about longevity. So for me, listening to you about, you know, making videos, it kind of reminds me when I first started making content, and I still don't use any of those kit. No, literally sits in the bag.
It does make me laugh when I see some, like,
do you know what I mean?
Fitness influencers walk in with like a film crew of stuff, and I'm like, you're literally just in a gym. There's only so much it can really capture, no matter what camera you've got. It's not a film. But what's good about what we do as well when we're training is, cause I'm quite a person, I always like to ask you questions and like, why are we doing this, or you know, what's that? I'm always kind of and I've always been like that. I always ask a lot of questions, and when I do something and you explain it to me and you kind of go, oh look, maybe I should do a video on that, because it's real life, it's genuine. It's not you going, right, Reis, go and squat with really bad technique, and then I'm going to come over and go, hey, you should really do this, this and this. It's very genuine problems that someone like myself who's fairly experienced in the gym, little tweaks when you speak to an expert. It's a really good piece of content where thousands of people like myself could be watching it and see right, this guy knows his stuff, and you never know when your next client, or just helping people in general from posting these videos, because they're genuine, and you just do them in one take. You're not there going, like
no, because it's genuine. It's genuine. I know what I want to say. Like for me, you talk about script and videos. Like I don't work well with scripts.
No.
Just give me bullet points of what I need to talk about, and that's what I do well. I bullet point what I want to talk about. But a lot of my gym content that I film, I always walk around with my mic and my tripod and obviously I've got my phone on me, but I've always got my kit on me to film, because an idea will pop into my head whilst we're training together, because these are something that comes natural to me as an individual, someone who's trained for a very long time, but they don't come natural to you. So you ask the question, which is fantastic. And I'm like, that's a great question.
Yeah.
How many other people out there who are asking the similar question that you're asking? And it's very important that, I come up with that sort of like a simplicity to the answer of that question, because I don't want it to be like a long-winded. Training is not hard. It's not complicated. You just got to put in the work.
Yeah, I think I said to you,
just get in that gym, get the work done. Just do it, like Nike says.
Yeah,
just do it. Get it done.
I think I said to you, didn't I? And I said, we were talking after the gym on the cross train. So it's quite a grey area, this. And you're like, no, it's not really a grey area. And then we had a long conversation on how intense do you train? Where's the, is there a line where you're not? I mean, I said to you, doing more damage. You said you're not really doing more damage, but how much are you affecting your growth when you think you're going hard? But is it too hard to actually, in relation to what the outcome you're trying to achieve? If you're trying to achieve X, is your training in line with that? And I feel like I find it very interesting to find out what the sweet spot is.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, there's science behind it. There's science behind it. They say, anywhere between 12 to 20 sets per workout is what's sufficient enough for muscle growth. Per week even. They've gone as far as per week, 12 to 20 sets per muscle group. That's what they're saying. That's what the scientific rationale talks about. So training, there is a science behind it, and there's enough science behind it to back what is needed to be done. Like, I was the king of overtraining. So when we talk about training, we talk about that, and we're kind of using that as an example. I always refer back to science. This is not bro science. This is scientific rationale behind specific amount of sets and that you need to do per week for muscle hypertrophy. So your questions are always good, but like I said to you, I think it's important that you understand there's science behind things, that the questions that you ask. And I've done a lot of research. I've trained with a lot of people, and I retain a lot of information. So there is a simple science behind it. That's why training is simple. Yeah. Because everything is backed by science. Everything's backed by research. So if it's backed by science and backed by research, why are you then trying to reinvent a wheel? Like, since the beginning of the invention of the old vehicle, is the size of the wheel changed? Or the shape changed? Sorry, the sizes have changed. Sorry, but the shape hasn't changed overall. So there's science behind it. So I always say don't overthink it. But I want to ask you another question. How have you maintained a winning mindset facing setback, failure, and adversity? How do you maintain that winning mindset? Like what you say, like people slamming doors in your face. I know about a couple of deals that you've had that fell out. So how do you maintain that winning mindset? Yeah,
when things are going good, and like I said, I think I'm in my 4th year now, so I'm by no means like a veteran in the industry, but how the progress I have made in such a quick space of time, I feel like I've expedited a lot of the good and the bad times. So I feel like I've been through a lot, and I was guilty of taking my foot off the gas when I thought I'd made it, where I'd done so much money I didn't know what to do with it at the point. And then I've also been to the trenches where you get punished for being lazy and complacent, and then the deals fall out of bad, and Murphy's law really hits you, and anything that bad can happen to you does happen to you. And I've always been a bottle it up type guy. I would never there's some people that like to talk about every problem. You get one little issue, they'll ring up their mum, their girlfriend, or whatever it is, and just vent. Whereas I'm the complete opposite. I'll be like, right, how am I going to deal with this? And I like to keep things up inside, because I don't like to give it energy, because I feel like you're almost manifesting it into the world. That's my opinion. So when I have a problem, unless I need to go and get advice off you or my brother or my dad or my mum, I'll dig deep and figure it out. I don't think giving it energy and speaking it out to the universe is going to do me any good. I've just always kind of done that. So I think the real growth is not when I I landed 6 figures in a month. The real growth was when I had 5 blank months, and I'm still digging deep about how can I grow, how can I keep progressing. And I think that's the real challenge in being a self-employed in sales, or like yourself as a self-employed running your own business, is that you've probably been guilty of it. When things are going good, you think they're going to be good forever, and it's really the complete opposite. It's about 10% good and it's 90% shit, and you've just got to tolerate the shit, because the 10% is really worth it. And I think when you look at it like that, you're not really affected by it. When things are good, now I know, fucking hell, I've had a really good few months. There's going to be something fucking hard coming. And I'm not like preparing for the worst. I'm not being negative. I'm being real now. Whereas when I've been good before, I think, fuck me, I've made it. I'm the man. I'm doing this. I'm driving this. I'm wearing that. Nah, mate. You ain't made it yet. And I think I've just been through that level of hitting really good bank, taking my foot off the gas, making mistakes and going, right, I'm not doing that again. Then you set yourself up for the next level up.
I think that's important to take into consideration what you've just said there, because I know I've been guilty of that. You know, when I first started with my business, Precision Performance Coaching, we were flying. You know, we were signing clients up left, right and centre. We were hitting unbelievable months. You know, what I was getting paid to be a London firefighter, I was making in a week, you know, per month. And I thought, oh, this is it, I'm flying, you know, and I took my foot off the gas. And I think, like, you know, what happened to me was not putting our clients first. You know, I was looking at the business thinking this is an amazing business model. The business is doing really, really well, and didn't put the client first. And complete opposite now for me is now the client is the most important thing within the business. Like, I didn't make it up. I got it from Jeff Bezos, Amazon. You know, they always put the client first. They put the customer first. If you put the customer first, you're always going to be successful. And listen to what you're saying is, when things are good, don't get too excited. When things are bad, don't get too sad.
Exactly, yeah.
You know, things will get better. And that's something I've learned as well within my business. You know, to make sure I don't get too excited when things are good, and I don't get too sad when things are bad. I always look at what can I do to improve. And that's always nice to have a business coach or mentor that you can reflect back to.
But I think going back to that is, I went back and go, what was I doing when I was flying? Well, I was audiobook. I was journaling in the morning. I was vision board with notes around everywhere. It was everywhere around my apartment. And I was like, what am I doing now? And I was like, none of that. And I was like, we're so strange that we achieve where we want to get to, and then suddenly we stop doing the things that got us there.
Yes.
And everyone fucking does it. And
yes.
It's kind of like, why do we do it? We always self-sabotage. It's very strange. And I think, again, you ain't going to learn it unless you go through it. You might have gone through it, or you might be very wealthy and lucky or whatever. But if you've gone from, I wouldn't say nothing, because I was doing okay, you know, but I went to a next level of living, and to then stop doing what got me there, you're a fucking idiot. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's very strange that we learn things the hard way. We don't learn when you lose $1,000 or lose this. You learn when you lose fucking 50 grand and you've had 4 dry months. Then you start going, right, come on, mate, because the money's running out and you're still acting like you're a fucking millionaire.
Yeah.
And you do have to go through it. And I think that those lessons for me have been invaluable. They're fucking amazing. But at the time, I was like having sleepless nights. I'm getting into bed. You know, I spoke to you before. Fucking hell, for some reason, your brain loves reminding you of all the shit when you want to go to sleep, doesn't it? It doesn't come at you in the day.
Yeah.
It's when you want to sleep, your brain's like, hold on, mate. What about that? What about that? You haven't sorted that out. You didn't make that phone call. Fucking hell. So then you got to you start addressing the problem. I'm not saying bury your head in the sand, but it will get better if you address the problems and, strategize. Right, what's the problem then? Well, how did I solve that before? Well, I used to self-develop and I used to do 100 phone calls by 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Okay, let's start doing that again. Let's start at 20 phone calls and then build it up to 25 phone calls. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like, there's always an answer for it. And I think if you can go through the shit times, go through the good times, then at least have it once where you go, right, I've had the best of both worlds now. I've got the scars and I can adapt very quickly. And I think that's what business is adapting to the downs as opposed to getting too high on the ups. Yeah,
definitely. If you don't evolve with the times and adapt to the times as well, your business isn't going to evolve. You've got to be able to do that. But we could talk all day. It sounds interesting, isn't it? We could talk all day. But who has been some of your biggest influences professionally and personally in life? Who has been your biggest influences that have helped you?
I think I was always a big fan on, like I've mentioned many times, Jordan Belfort. There was that scene where he was talking on the phone and people were leaning in around going, how the hell have you just done that? And it really interests me about tonality, body language, and I've implemented a lot of it and just paid attention to it, and my God, it's amazing when it pays off. And I'm really, it's a huge part in what I do. So involved in real estate, obviously sales, that sort of things. I've always been a massive football fan, obviously. So people like Cristiano Ronaldo I've always kind of admired to such an extreme level, because the stories I hear about him getting to training half an hour before everyone, and then they try and go in half an hour earlier, and then Ronaldo would be there half an hour earlier. It's kind of like the geezer's 39, he just broke another record, I think, for high score in 4 leagues in the world. No one else has done that, and he's like, look at him, he's a picture of health. And when you look at excellence at that level, it can resonate in whatever industry you're in. I don't have to be a salesman like whoever it is, and then Tiger Woods is, I love Tiger Woods, I love my golf, obviously, so him. And then my brother around me, Ty's obviously been huge in helping me get to where I want to get to, and that's when we're together, we are a lot stronger, which is why a lot of the plan is to get half and half with Dubai by the end of this year, because when we're together, we're a very powerful unit and we're looking to take over Dubai. I think it's a matter of time. It feels right, and I can't wait to kind of get set up where I'm lucky enough to be residing over there and here. 50-50 is the goal by the end of the year.
Yeah, that would be great. I mean, Dubai, I love Dubai. I'm always out in Dubai myself. I think in what you guys are going to be doing in Dubai, you're going to take it to the next level. People in Dubai are very different than the real estate market as a whole, and people in Dubai as a whole. I think Dubai is probably the only place in the world where I feel like you have to get like all clubbered up to go to the gym.
Oh mate,
do you know what I mean? I've never seen
Louis bags,
I've never
Gucci
seen so many Louis Vuitton bags and Dior bags.
Your little drawstring bag don't go there.
You know what I mean? I've never seen so many designer designer backpack or designer duffel
it's
bags
nuts, isn't it?
in the gym, and Rolex watches in the gym than I see in Venice when I'm in Dubai. So I think you're fitting pretty well in Dubai. But I mean, you've shared some amazing, strategies and things like that. But what techniques and other strategies has helped you to be successful today? I know you've shared a lot already, but is there any sort of like 3 to 5 tactics or technique that you have that you can actually be specific on that's helped you to become successful?
And just recently on how I spoke to you probably this week about the importance of social media and get into how it's helped me get so far, and then when I noticed it wasn't working. So I think having a social media plan is for every business has to be paramount to succeed, because it's a huge part of every business. If you're not utilizing every single platform, then you're missing out. I think for me, I really realized I had no proper structure to my social media plan. That's changing now in the next week or so, where it's properly structured for me to, like you say, give value. And a lot of people want to ask for business when they haven't given any value. And I think you got to understand, what you're asking for and what you're doing. Like you said, you do videos to, oh wow, Reis has brought that. Maybe 1,000 other people I could help with this gym technique. You're not going, if you want this gym technique, sign up to me for fucking 10 grand and I'll give you it. No, it doesn't work like that. It's give. Oh, this guy's an expert in this, and same with me. I'm going to be demonstrating all the tricks and tips, of how I excelled in real estate so quickly, so that other people in real estate will eventually want to kind of come to me for advice or come and work for us over in Dubai or the UK, as opposed to me going, all the other companies are shit, come work for us because we give you more money. It's kind of like, it doesn't come across genuine. So the social media structure for me is what's going to help me elevate even more. I've always kept the gym in my life. I've always had a bit of a sweet tooth, so really going, stop fucking beating yourself in the gym to go and eat 7 cookies at night, man. that's literally me. So now I've got the structure where it's like, right, okay, because like I said to you, what I have to do things I have to get in a lot of pain before I make a change, and it's kind of like that's being implemented now. You know, dragging myself to the gym when, you know, like I said, you don't want to do it. And I think we was talking as well about, you know, not going out and drinking for the sake of it, like. But then I've also been in situations where I'm like, right, Walle's a bodybuilding champion, whatever, the muscle category. So I'm not at that level, and when I can be, I'm going to have that mindset. But I've also had to go to dinners where if they're ordering whiskeys, I'm going to have to order a whiskey because these are the type of people they are. And I was like, I don't beat myself up now if I have to go and have a drink with a client that might end up getting me to a next level and having a good working relationship with him. Whereas if I'm there with my chicken and rice in a restaurant and they're kind of getting whiskeys and eating steak, I'm going to look like a bit of a twat to them. They're going to be like, he's not really our type of person. Whereas I'm not saying that drink is going to get me the deal, but it's horses for courses. And a lot of people in business will understand that if you're trying to build a relationship with someone, you want to kind of be like the same person.
Yeah, reflection of themselves. People like people that reflect. So
yeah, so when I first started, kind of, doesn't mean you go out and get pissed every 4 nights of the week. I'm saying pick and choose your the times when it's right for you. So I've got a lot better at kind of reading the room, reading the situation. And if I have to go out and have a drink with a client and come back at 1 o'clock and it does throw me off the next day at gym, I'll just adapt to it and go a bit later and try and keep my calories down the next day. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's interesting you say that. So I think then, in regards to saying that, how important is goal setting? So you've got a goal to improve your physique, to get down to 10% body fat, get yourself in the best shape of your life. How important is goal setting, not just physically to achieve the optimum physique that you want, but to optimize your business? How important is goal setting for your business? How important is goal setting for your physical health and mental well-being? Just explain to me how important goal setting is and what role goal setting plays in your life.
Yes, so it's different for each one. So with a great point you said with your physique, it's a visual measurable. Do I have abs yet? No, right, we'll keep doing this. It's not, and then it's true. Like, and I've always kind of got there or thereabouts, then gone off the bandwagon, and I've always fluctuated. I was like, I'm tired of being a fat shit now. I'm going to get abs. Do you know? Not that I'm overweight. That's just what I tell myself in my head. So with that, that's a specific measurable goal that if I do everything we go through, I can get there. So that one's very simple. With business, I had a conversation with Ryan not long ago. I was on the phone for like an hour. We are running everything as good as it can be. It's a well-oiled machine at the minute.
Yeah.
Do we have control over every single factors like the market conditions, mortgage rates, shit solicitors prolonging the whole progress? No, we don't. So would it be? That's where I kind of went back to my first point. There's certain things I don't have specific, measurables, because there's a lot of variables that determine my outcome. So as long as I feel that the processes are right and we're doing the right things every day in business, then I'm happy that it will keep progressing. Because if we knew it took us, what we did before took us to there, and now we're doing this, which is a hell of a lot more and done in a better way, we know it's going to take us to the next level. So we're always kind of speaking and discussing, what roles we might need to bring someone in. Do we need more recruitment people? We've got 3 full-time recruiters now at the company doing 40 interviews a week.
Oh, wow.
Do you know what I mean? So the company's going to grow because the recruitment process is so much more thorough. We're getting better quality people through the door. We weren't doing that a year ago. And a year ago, we were turning over X. So it means that in a year's time, if we're still kind of trending in the right direction with regards to agents and turnover, we should be doubling, tripling where we want to be. Do you know what I mean? So there's these things in place where you can measure it to an extent, but you've also got to let it run its course as well. So in business, I don't know if I'm wrong or right. People have their different views. I perform worse when I attach myself to a financial goal on a specific date, whereas I just focus on. I'm more of a process guy.
Yeah.
And I've always been that way. And I know other people are very much like, I've got to get the car by here, I've got to get the money by then. I perform worse doing that. I much prefer worrying about the processes, and then I know the result will come.
Yeah, no, that's important that you say that. I think for me, it's one of my favourite books that I've ever read, actually. It's called Atomic Habits. And rather than focusing on that end goal of, like, for example, Man City winning the league, if they just focus on training hard, playing well as a team in every single game by game, rather than focusing on that end goal of winning the league, they're going to win the league like they did this year. So that's just a simple,
inch by inch.
That's it.
I love that.
That's what
that
I'm saying.
terminology.
So focus on what's in front of you right now, rather than focusing on what you've got to accomplish. Because a lot of people will use physique as a prime example. You know, they'll look at themselves and they'll be like, wow, I'm 90 kilograms at 30% body fat. I'm never going to get to where I want to be. But then you still haven't changed your lifestyle. You still haven't focused on making every single workout count. It's that sort of compound interest of just showing up every day and focusing on the process rather than the end goal.
Well, people that go to the gym daily will look at someone like yourself and go, fucking hell, I know the amount of work that's going to go into that.
Yeah.
Whereas someone that's ignorant, that doesn't really train, they'll probably just assume, oh, he's lucky, he looks like that, he's born like that. Do you know what I mean? And that's what we associate myself. And another reason why I really want to take my physique to the next level now is because I want someone to look at me and go, my God, he's disciplined. Like he's gonna be a good guy I want to do business with.
Yeah.
And I flip that on the other side of it and go, if I had someone really overweight, scruffy, you know, not looking shaped up, I wouldn't want to do business with them. No. I wouldn't, and that's just my opinion. Yeah. Because I think we all love a donut and a cookie, but you do it every day. So how disciplined are you going to be that you're not going to be drinking you could be out drunk on a time when you might need to be reactive. Whereas I'm not saying I don't do any of that, but I'm saying you look at someone, they're a walking advertisement of how disciplined they are, because trust me, I can eat.
Yeah, no, I know. I mean, I know. But the funny thing is, when you look at someone's physique, you know, like I said, I always use this analogy. You know, you can walk into a Rolex shop, maybe not now, but you could buy a watch. You can walk into Lamborghini and order a Lamborghini. You can walk into Ferrari and order a Ferrari. You can't walk into the gym and order a six-pack.
I know, yeah,
you know,
true.
Or you can go, you know, you have to put in the work. You have to put in the work. That compound of showing up every day and putting in the work that's necessary. It's so important. It is so important.
Yeah, because when you're 30% body fat going to the gym, after day one, you're still going to be 30% body fat. You're going to be a lot of pain, but you still want to go back the next day, because you know it's a proven scientific fact that if you're doing this and in a calorie deficit and you follow a training regime by a professional, you will get that goal.
Exactly.
And that's what people don't understand. And it's very hard to I said to you this morning, great example, we're Friday now. How busy was the gym Monday morning at 6 o'clock?
Oh, so packed. Rammed. We couldn't hardly move around.
Yeah. How busy was the day? There's about 5 people in there this morning. I said, because people have fizzled, the motivation's worn off. That Monday motivation's worn off. And it's like life. Like, you have to keep going back and doing the same thing, even when you still look flabby and you still look. But then when you're going down I think I told you the other day, I bought 32 jeans the other day for the first time in years, and I was amazing. Like, my belt's running out of notches. These are good problems to have.
Yeah.
Like, it's great. So that doesn't happen overnight. It might feel like it do when you wake up the next day, but it's all delayed gratification. And the problem is with the industry, with everything, is people are used to doing something and getting it now. You go to work, you get your wage, and if you really want to get away from the masses, you have to detach yourself from instant gratification and go to that delayed gratification. So if you are out of shape, or you want bigger arms or a bigger bum, it's going to take time and a lot of work where you're not going to see a result. And people that are going to a self-employed model like real estate, who are used to getting 1,600 quid land in their bank account every month, no matter what their result is, aren't going to like the fact that they go self-employed and suddenly it's a results industry. And people that put themselves in a results industry position, it's where the bigger money is.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think for me, results, I love that. For me, I do really love that.
Your result is, are you going to win or not?
Yeah, exactly.
Are you going to win on stage or not? Because that's your benchmark.
Yeah. I love the fact that you want to work towards something, but at the same time, if I'm not putting in the work daily to get me to where I want to go, then it's going to be a lot difficult for me to achieve that end result. I think a lot of people, going back to what you said, is, you know, think that we're living in such you order something today on Amazon, it turns up tomorrow.
Exactly, yeah.
You know, your body's not Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
You ain't going to order it today and it's going to turn up tomorrow.
Everything now that's make you comfortable and nice, isn't it? Like, I said something about, what are you doing to make yourself feel happy? And I was like, but if you're happy, Are you going to fucking ring 100 phone? Are you going to do 100 phone? You're probably not.
No.
You want to be fucking determined. You want to be the determined mindset is, I'm going to, honestly, like today, my body's in pieces this week. Like, I'm running out of muscles to ache, but I'm still fucking going. I'm like, if I can get through it, it's going to be good. And if you're in a nice, happy state, for me, nice and happy is me sat on the sofa with Ben and Jerry's watching Netflix. That's nice. That's nice. Do you know what I mean? But is it going to help me get to where I want to get to? No. I want to be in a state where I'm like, come on, Reis, you're not fucking where you want to be. Do it again. That's not a nice and happy state. That's a real determined state.
I love that. I love that. But yeah, no, I mean, like I said to you, we could talk all day long on this, but can you actually give the audience like 3 of your favorite books that you've read and 3 of your favorite quotes just to help them? Because I'm a man that I love books and I love quotes. I think quotes really help to kind of drive me forward and propel me to my destiny, and books as well, because, you know, I always look at books and I think if I can pick one thing up from a book, I've learned something. You know, and
I'm really big on books actually.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to my Audible now. How to Win Friends and Influence People, which is by Dale Carnegie, is a fantastic book. And a lot of these books are written in like the 1980s and 1990s. And what astounds me is how relevant they are to now to succeed. It's not about, do you have the best phone?
No.
Or do you have the best mic or the best camera? That ain't gonna fucking help you. It'll be nice when you unbox it and it feels good, but again, it putting you back in a nice state. So that's fantastic. Atomic Habits is one I've listened to about 5 or 6 times. You've said as well, and Relentless by Tim Grover.
Amazing.
Again, I'm obsessed with people that are the best at what they do, and he told me it was great because how he got Michael Jordan was he wrote to every player in his team bar Michael Jordan to be a coach for them, and then Michael Jordan was like, why is this guy not wrote to me? And that's how he kind of got him. And he was like thinking outside the box. He was like a young, inexperienced fitness coach, and he somehow landed Michael Jordan to help get to the next level. It's a fan, it's amazing. So that's really good. But quotes, I wouldn't say he put me on the spot here with quotes. I don't really have any really, but I'm more just like, in my head, I'm like, I always tell myself inch by inch, and that's all I say. I think it's from that film with is it the NFL film or the American football film? I can't remember what it's called, and he does that speech in the dressing room. Al Pacino as a coach, and he's like inch by inch. And that's all I tell myself is when things are tough, is that just inch by inch, do the little thing every day, and it's going to be better. And I reward myself when I can sit down and have an hour now on Netflix as opposed to going 7 hours with a tub of Ben and Jerry's. But yeah, inch by inch, that's always in my head daily.
I'll give you 3 of my quotes then.
yeah.
Well, I love, obviously, one of my favorite quotes is, in a race for perfection, there's no finishing line. Because I just think, it's by the rule and shake of Dubai, is the actual quote is, in the race for excellence, there isn't no finishing line, which I love, because I think there isn't no finishing line. I'm never going to be a finished project, and I want to kind of keep pushing, because there's never going to be a finishing line. And another one of my favorite quote is, my responsibility is leadership. The minute I get negative, this is going to have an influence on my team. This is by Don Shula. I love that quote as well. And again, one of my favorite quote is by Vince Lombard. If we trace perfection, we might catch excellence.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean.
Do you know what I mean? So they're simple little quotes, but they're 3 of my favorite quotes that I really love. But me and you can talk all day. Yeah. So I want to kind of finish off this podcast by just asking you to kind of give the audience where they can find you, how they can find you, what would you say to the young entrepreneur out there who's kind of sitting on the fence about leaving his job and thinking, I can't do it? Give that first, and then talk about where they can find you.
Yeah. So obviously on Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Reis Ash official. And what I'm going to be doing, I've been working really hard because, even myself, I didn't feel like posting very much the last few weeks because I've been really working behind the scenes. I'm like, I don't want to start posting about, hey, come and do this, and it's not genuine. So I'm not going to start putting videos out that aren't genuine. So I'm very big on posting genuine content. I'm going to be posting insights to the investors in the UK, really going to be giving a lot of information on investors, sellers, buyers in the UK and Dubai, because I'm pretty experienced in both areas.
Yeah.
I'm going to also be giving advice out to real estate agents on prospecting, on marketing, on pricing, on becoming an expert in their industry.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be giving out all these nuggets all the time. So I've been working hard behind the scenes on a structure, video plans, where now, like I say, you get to a point, you get the Ferrari, you get the watch, and it's nice, but you want to kind of go, how can I take it to the next level? And that's by giving to people in the industry and changing their lives. And trust me, I was a plumber. I was fucking, I was half decent money, but it wasn't life-changing money.
No.
And I was always told, you're not, it's not for you, this industry. And I fucking proved a lot of people wrong. And I think it's never too late to do it. And if you want to know and understand what it takes, I can give you sort of timelines, guidelines, what's required effort-wise. Same as if someone comes to you and go, how long can I get to look like this?
Yeah.
And they hold a picture of you there. You're not going to get there anytime soon. But no, you're going to know, right, you're going to have to do this every day. You're going to have to do this. And you go for a structure and a plan. And I've got some scars. I haven't got the scars of someone that's been doing it 40 years, but I've learned a lot. I've achieved a lot. And I just want to be around like-minded people. If you're 18, 19 years old and you ain't got a quid in the bank, but you fucking want it, and you can turn up to meetings and look half decent, then you've got a chance. And it's hard world out there, but if you're around people that have kind of, like you say, got the scars, been through it all, and they're successful, then that's what I'd be doing to anyone. Like I said, stop hanging around with losers and hang around with people that are where you want to be.
That's amazing, guys. Amazing guys. Reis Ash,
Nice
Reis,
one,
I want to say a
it.
massive thank you very much.
Enjoyed it today, man.
It's been amazing. Guys, if you like the sound of if you like listening to podcasts like this and you want me to interview anyone specifically, please send me a message who you would like me to interview next on my podcast. We've got a list of people that we're going to be interviewing. We've got 2 doctors that works directly for Precision Performance Coaching. One's a mindset coach, one's a hormone doctor, or I call it our performance enhancement doctor, which makes sure we check all your levels and everything. But message me, let me know who you'd like me to interview next on this podcast. But guys, love you all. Thank you for staying in touch and keep winning.
Nice one.
Cheers, pal.
Nice one, bro.
That was
Good.
good.